Hello and welcome back. Today's going to be a little different. We're going to be talking about resume tips for software engineers and how to stand out in technical recruiting. So, just a little bit of context for this video and why I'm making it. The reason I started doing content in the first place was because I wanted to help early engineers become enterprise software developers. And that gap is something that I see in people that they begin coding or they go to a boot camp or they start college and they're really excited about the building, but the things that set engineers apart from developers are the hardening of systems, the understanding of architecture, and just things that are harder to gain except on the job experience. So I just want, part of this content and overall, I want to start giving you the words to be able to talk about architecture, right? With design patterns or system design or other things, or just seeing what that process looks like. So that's kind of the background for why we're going to talk about this today. But at the highest level, the most important bullet point is the first one: is technical recruiters prioritize skills over general experience, right? If you've been working since you were 16, doing, at a grocery store or doing restaurant work like I was, technical recruiters care more about what you can do on the job than, oh, I've been on a job before. So that's kind of the first thing. And the other one, structure matters, quality over quantity, and simple formatting really beats those fancy templates, mostly because of ATS and how it scans, right? With simple formatting, AI can really extract all of those key data points easier. So that's kind of the first one. But we'll dive into each one. So the first step, when you're looking at your resume and your current resume, is, are you highlighting what makes you a good developer, right? Development is what they want to see. They want to see technical ability. They want to be able to see that you can talk about these things in writing. So for career changes or new graduates, skip or minimize the non-technical work history, right? Lead with your projects, lead with your bootcamp work, lead with your academic projects. Whatever you have that is coding, show that technical capability through those bullet points, right? If your work experience is limited, just throw a coursework, right? Replace work experience, go with coursework. Highlight your project classes that were really exciting, or maybe you did research with a professor. Do those kinds of things. And then next, moving on. So this is not for everyone. Structure each experience entry, right? When you have that experience, whether it's job, whether it's a research, start with a clear one-line summary. This could be a little longer, a little shorter, but you want to highlight what the objective of this was, and then you can dive right into those 3 to 4 specific achievement bullet points that are going to have those keywords just jammed in there, right? So if you have something like Azure experience, right, where you develop maybe Azure functions and used Azure Service Bus Queue to develop a message processing engine, talk about the high-level summary of why that was, right? Maybe it was to increase observability. Maybe it was to process data for a research project. But then dive right into those Azure functions, Azure Service Bus Queues, AWS Lambdas, right? Those technical keywords that are referenced in your technical skills, drop them right in those bullet points because they want them to see actionable skills used on the job or in the experience. Now, those individual 3 to 4 bullet points, make them achievement focused. We want to be specific about what you built or improved and where your impact was, right? It's a dead giveaway when you have zero experience, but you start saying things like, I led a project. Well, okay, let's question that for a second, because are you really a senior dev with 1 year experience? And that's not impossible, right? You can go to a small place and then they give you the title, and the title is the title, but if you're trying to move to a bigger place, that's going to be a red flag for a recruiter, right? Be specific about what you did and what your impacts were, and because then you can talk to that better in the interview, right? Your resume is a gateway for them to look. So they start looking, I start asking questions based on your resume. If you can't talk to the thing in technical depth, it's just not going to work out for you. So quantify that impact if possible, right? If you did metrics, maybe it's optimization tests, maybe it's actual runtime of the project, right? Those kind of things. But then there's still bullets, right? We still want to be keeping those bullets smaller, right? We're not going to have big long text sections on everything you did. You got to condense that down. Now, a big one is a technical skill section. I have always hated this look on the resume. It doesn't look like, oh, how could you ever know all these different things or frameworks or tools? Obviously, as software development gets more wide, right, with AI allows you to get a lot more wide really quick, you're going to have more programming languages, frameworks, and tools. But I'm mainly a .NET developer. I just want to say I'm a .NET developer, but having it say ASP.NET Core, semantic kernel, Azure, other things like that, Azure Functions. Like, those keywords are really important to match with the job description. So group them by categories if you want. Only include skills if you can discuss them competently, right? How many times do people just tack on all the skills just so it's scannable? No. You got to be able to talk to it. Now, that doesn't mean you can upskill, right? Just because you haven't had job experience on it, but you did personal projects or you took a course on it. Those are great skills that you can discuss confidently and discuss what your thing is. Maybe, and the way you discuss that is, oh, I'm learning that, and I'm actually really excited about learning Python and why that's good for the machine learning space, right? You could say things like that. So start with a strong objective. Lead with your top 2 to 3 technical strengths. Mention what you're seeking, but avoid generic statements, right? You want to make this specifically about you, right? One of my things that I'm passionate about is community focused, right? I do the .NET user group. I like talking to people to find out where their needs are as engineers. So that's something that I'm passionate about and I want to bring to any workplace. So that's something I have in my objective. Now, the last two tips here, and then we'll get into the review and refine. Use AI. You can't get away from it. Use AI, but write it yourself. So use AI in a chat window as opposed to like the agent mode where you just have everything generated. Don't go to an AI generation site because those generally develop templates that have tables or things that make it harder for ATS to drag that data points out. So use a super simple template. Word has some great ones. Google Drive has some great ones, but pull it in and use AI to improve wording or bullets, but write it yourself, right? The authenticity will show in structure, but also in voice as you get better about writing. Now, the other ones, super simple stuff. Use standard formatting, minimal styling. You want to jam as much information and technical content as you can in there, sorry. So don't have, the big headshot. Don't have big complex layouts, those kind of things. Just the data. Just throw it in there. Now, review and refine, right? When you're reading your resume, read it out loud. That's a great way to catch awkward phrasing. It's a great way to catch spelling or grammar errors. But just make sure everything is on there correct, right? Do not have spelling errors or grammar errors on your resume. It's an automatic red flag. Just don't do it. The last couple here before the final checklist, tailor your resume for each application. Change the buzzwords around, change some of the bullet points around, just so it has those hooks. So then the recruiter says, oh, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for A. They said they do A. Great. Beautiful. Now, another one, keep it to one page, right? Unless you have 5 years experience or they're specifically asking for a CV, a resume is a one pager. They want to be able to see what kind of engineer you are right off the bat. So some of the common mistakes to avoid. Don't list out your responsibilities of like your day-to-day. List out the stuff that you did out of your responsibilities, your achievements, the things that are great, right? Using buzzwords without backing them up. So this is the counter, right? Don't just throw out achievements with buzzwords just to have the achievements with buzzwords. Use the buzzwords when it makes sense. And don't include outdated or irrelevant skills, and don't have old information, right? You don't want to have a chance where they want to talk to you about the job, and then you have the wrong email or silly things like that. The final checklist, just some really basic ones, right? Technical skills are there. Each entry is measurable and reviewed. Keywords match the job description, and use a PDF format. PDF format is good because it helps those AI resume scanners pull out the information easier than a docx file, and the formatting is less likely to change. But that's going to be it. And if you guys ever have questions or want to send me a resume to review, I'd be happy to talk through them with you. Like I said, we're all just trying to figure out how to best balance how we are as software engineers in this ever-changing world. So these are just a couple of my tips, but if you have thoughts, please put them down below or reach out to me directly. Thank you. Happy coding.